Greetings everyone, this is Lodrik and this is a game War in the Pacific Admirals Edition, and this is a match against Dojo. Today we will check turn number 46, means battle activity for the 7th and 8th March 1942. I expect not too much activity on my side in this turn. It's more or less still for me organization and transport turn. But maybe Dojo have something on his side to surprise me. I really not expect it, but you must always expect everything if you want to play the war game, or it is easy possible to be arrogant or like this. So I will always at least calculate a certain risk factor in each turn and each activity you plan here. Of course, it's still early March 42 and the allies, they don't have too much equipment so far. Here we can see that this is now the last American bases I pick up. Originally the game, I think I don't know if it, but the original setup is that the Japanese, they take these islands very early on, Bataan Island immediately, but it's normally totally useless. We have not really a big advantage for the Japanese. So I skipped it, but now it's time for me to finish this operation. After the Japanese get some additional Navy Guard units, it is more easy to get rid of this second class, third class bases. So this was already the night activity of 7th March. Now we can see here many allied task forces, and they are all the symbol looks like a Navy task force, so it's not a cargo task force, so they can be surface radar or surface task forces, anti-submarine hunter groups, something like this. And we see here is a destroyer unit, and this is a typical sub-hunter group, but luckily with not much success. And our submarine can dive away and avoid any damage, and keep Dojo's units here a little busy. And maybe another day or another option will be created, the opportunity for us to sink some additional cargo ships near Perth. Overall, I would always say that it is very important to play this game with a cool mind and not try to run from battle to battle. Especially for the Japanese, I would say this is a road to defeat. Every battle, I mean, at least on the planning stage, the Japanese must always try to create a situation is always in favor for the Japanese side, and not rush anything. Like I said before, it's simply too dangerous for the Japanese to lose equipment early on in the game without really a necessary without that it is necessary for the Japanese. So later on, if the Americans think striking back, there is maybe the moment that you must hold the line and you must take the fight, even if the odds are against Japan. Easy to say, everyone have to find out how he really does it. I can maybe say I'm a little lucky because Dojo is a typical defense American allied player. So far, at least, he risked nearly nothing. Well, I think he risked so far nothing at all. That make it for me more easily to run my equipment around the map without much fear that it get intercepted. Of course, this be also the risk that, yeah, like I said before, that at some certain point you not even calculate more this kind of risk in your planning, and then one day you will get have a, a wake up call, and maybe you lose a lot of equipment, and that is for Japan simply often not easy to compensate. But this also means not that it's, I mean, a war is a war in Japan, and I will also lose in the future more and more equipment. It's not possible to avoid this completely. But I hope that I can minimize my losses. With, on the other hand, maximize my success against Dojo. So this is a very standard boring turn so far. A little sub-hunting stuff and the typical Chinese bombardment and nothing else. No activity from Dojo. We can see at least that Dojo have his submarines around Singapore, and he tried to intercept my shipping, but now this also makes it easy if I know there are many submarines that I can create sub-hunter groups, and this make it nearly impossible for the submarines to get in position. Some support bombardment against the Dutch forces in Medan. Long range strike from Bobul. You can see the difference in the kill ratio and the damage we create. That the Dutch forces, they have other terrain. I think it's open, and they also maybe have no fort or less fort level. I think Medan is open. I don't know even it's a city, so I think it's really open field, and this make it very hard for the units to cover. And you can see that with much less payload, we create much more casualties on the Dojo side. But because Dojo have no fighter wings, nothing to intercept my bombers, I can use them. And at least we create a little damage, we create a little stress on the enemy units. And our pilots always get some skill points for this. So it is for me a win situation, and for Dojo it is a... I would not say it's really break its units, but it's handicapped. Of course, his abilities to form a strong defense position. and a lot of scouting. So this is now already the afternoon. Yeah. So Dutch submarine get detected by our sub chasers, but our sub chasers cannot get in position. Again, this patrol boats are compared to the sub chasers are even more shitty. But you have them, and why not use them? And we can at least always force the submarine to dive. I'm not sure if this will consume a lot of fuel for the submarine if it's always must dive. I mean, or it simply only will hinder the chance from the submarine to even strike something. Here at least we can fire some depth charges up, but we're making only one hit. And this destroyer minesweepers, they have only this very light shitty equipment, so this damage is 2-3 system damage. I don't really expect much more. Okay. So this is my bombardment attack on Wushu, only to test enemy defense power, and we can see that it's a very... I have a little more firepower, like 10% more, but this is far too less to attack the defender, because the defender still always have the fort level and the terrain bonus. So yeah, like I said, I would simply say at least double the attack value. Better you have triple the attack value. Here we take one additional Dutch island. And here we maybe luckily cannot get rid of this Australian detachment units. I mean, we both have normally no real attack value because this is a Japanese black. These are both block forces, but the Japanese block forces have at least have a little more will to fight. We can see that my attack value drops half, but Dojo's completely drops, and so yeah, they only retreated. They're not destroyed, but now they are in somewhere nowhere. And maybe I can bomb them, or I let them starve out. Nah. Not that it really matters. Picking up here the next Dutch bases on this railway without much. There's no resistance, so we take the base easy. This is now the last battle of my 4 Navy Guard units. This is the original landing force, but this was too less to really strike here. But my landing force will, I think, now arrive at the end of the day or at the start of the next day. So we can see now is Dojo have 161 attack value and I have 239. And at the end of the next day we will see how this will change. Okay. We arrive at March 8. Again, some bases switching backward, forward. Okay. Dojo submarine intercept our convoy, or maybe... Yeah. We are on the way to land our troops, but our destroyer escort at least intercepted the submarine. Like this. So the submarine not even was able to launch some torpedoes. But deep water, nearly impossible to do anything. Okay. This time it's Dojo Sub Hunter. Yeah, super. Yeah. The subs try to find the convoys, and the sub hunters try to find the submarines. And at the early stage, the first 6 months, I would say it's a very equal battle between Japan and the American submarines. Of course, the Americans will suffer because of their better Mark 14 torpedoes. But the Japanese submarines are they are good in deep water, but shallow water is always deadly for any submarine. And the Allies are producing later on so many submarines, and after they fixing the torpedoes after 1 year, in mid of 43, it's really a dangerous battle for the Japanese to survive this fast increasing Ally submarine force. Here's the next sub hunter group. And this was now, there was a cargo ship. Our submarine tried to attack it, but it got intercepted. And then the submarine launched at least 4 torpedoes. But this is something like an emergency attack. And the destroyers can avoid most of these attacks. And like here, we consume now 4 torpedoes, so the submarine maybe will run out of torpedoes sooner or later and have to return. But I would say at least it forced Dojo to keep a lot of destroyers in this area. And somehow this small cargo ship avoided this torpedo attack. It can happen. And the next, okay. So Dojo's sub hunter group come back and wanted, and at least he finds the submarine, but no. Again, no. Dojo's submarine also run out of ammunition, have to return to base and rearm. It consumes some supplies, but that is so small stuff. Okay. Nothing again. So our submarine is low on ammunition also, and maybe we have to return to base. The next sub-hunter group. So Dojo fixed his problem with unescorted cargo ships from last turn. A little unlucky. I hope that at least two more turns we can hunt here some easy prey. But Dojo plays this game much longer, and so he created his new setup line, and looks now we have a hard time to find something to see. This is now this invasion force with my 2 additional Navy Guard units from Shortlands and Tulagi. A lot of firepower, but yeah. At least we disable some units from Dojo. Yeah. That is a typical landing accident. So the night was had a lot of activity, but with not really any change in the balance of power. A lot of consumption of ammunition, but here again we bombard, Dojo fight back, but this time we hit nothing. No hit on either side, so. Okay. So at least we detect some of allies task forces. Ah yeah. So this is his strike of opportunity attacks. Always that if this Navy scout planes, if they find something and if they're in a good position, then they have the chance to make this opportunity strikes, but with very small hit chance. Nothing here. Yeah, this is I try to at least reduce the threat of this Navy scout planes. They bombarding my task forces. Oh, even if they don't really hit something critical so far, I try to bombard here the airfield. But of course this is not really enough air power to do much. But we at least damage one sequel. I would say 1 more month, mid of April, I maybe get the first Helen bombers. But the first generation of Helen bombers I don't really want to produce too many. So maybe June, July I can really maybe yeah, July latest I would say the second edition of the Helen bombers will go online, and at that moment I can call back all these light bombers. But it's a question of if it's really necessary to create in a very short time this new medium class bomber forces for the Japanese army, because it is of course always a heavy investment in factories and also in engines. Every bomber, even if it's a medium bomber, still require 2 engines. So it is often the cost of engines are problematic for the Japanese to maintenance. Oh, okay. Again, subchaser. Again, as a Dutch sub. At least one hit. But out of ammunition. No. And torpedo miss. This is, I think, this Mark 14 American submarine, so not really a big surprise for me. But these are this CHA, so this is as a light or shallow water sub chasers, and we are here in deep water, so even if we can attack this submarine, it simply will dive deep, and then it's out of reach of our equipment. I would normally prefer to get rid of this Dutch and later British submarines near around Singapore. All this area of shallow water normally is a must-have case to make sure that there are no Allied submarines. So, okay. Tavi, the next small island, picking up. So this is a no-go for me, so I need additional forces. At least this is now 1 Japanese division is here, and I need at least 1 more, better 2 more. So if I have here attack value of 1000, 1200, then I can maybe attack, but not before. Now we can see that not only the 4 from before, we have here now 2 additional Navy Guard units. One is a little, I think, understretched. So we not really have here now 6 complete full ready Navy Guard units, maybe more like. I mean, normally the attack value is maximum 62. So we are a little down, but I think before we had 280 attack value, now we have 350. So at least we have now double the attack value, I would say. And this is the minimum you need to attack. So units arriving Okay. Good, it's March, or 9th March 42. And we can check first activity, intelligence report. So there was nearly no air activity, but the Japanese suffer high operational losses. And why this happened? Key 21, this is army bombers, tunnel bombers, and then a lot of this light bombers. Maybe it was only a unlucky turn that we had so many operational losses, but you can see that each type have one airplane loss, so nothing too crazy. Sometimes this happened. It has normally not really much to do with the enemy. This is only by pure luck or pilot error. From these 11 airplanes, we had 2 killed pilots. Okay, so we lost in reality 11 airplanes, but only 2 pilots, and 1 is wounded and will normally come back sooner or later. So, and 2 pilots per per turn, and 1 turn is 2 days. This is normally, I would say, no big deal. Okay, ship sunk last turn. Okay. Looks like there's a British heavy cruisers go down. 8th of March. Who knows? That is now fog of war. Somehow our intelligence service tell the Japanese high command that there's a British heavy cruiser sunk by a Japanese torpedo. Would be nice, but who knows? After 3 months, like I said before, I think 3 months is a maximum time. Can be earlier, but latest after 3 months, false reported sunk ship will normally be updated and have a correction. So if the ship really sunk in its latest 3 months, we will get a normally report that no, sorry, this was a mistake, ship is still active. But this information you get always in this operational report. So, but I don't really read this here too much, because I always load everything in the tracker software, and the tracker software tell you the same, and even with a little more higher accuracy. So you can trust this here. This is normally always true, or at least very true. But sometimes, like you can see here, here's a pilot killed. So we lost one of our key 30N pilots gets killed. He make a landing accident and break his neck or whatever happened here. So you can read this, but most of the time I really simply, sometimes I use this, but most of the time tracker software is the same and better. More easy to read, more trustful. So why won't have all this double information? So in China is normally not much going on so far. You can see I try to intercept now here Dojo, but wait, here 20. So next turn we will maybe arrive the hex, because there's no road, so it's a little hard to change the hex now. But here we catch up with Dojo's forces. So Dojo have here 3 units, but they already get we defeated them before. So I think this is now, we kick him, then we go to the next base, kick him here, and this will be always like this. One fight, 2 turns maybe walking, then have the next fight, and again and again and again. Then this will continue up to we reach here the northern part, and maybe at some point, if we take this base, all this Chinese forces will be destroyed and give up. At the same time, you can see that I move my forces here around. Here's only a block force, and I created now here a strong defense position that I don't lose Xi'an, because Dojo is walking here in this direction, and I think I said this already last time. If you walk this direction, he didn't have a road connection, so to change from one hex to the next hex, I think at least 10 days. I would say 10 days it needs to cross this heavy mountain area. I mean, it's not heavy mountain, but it's hill, rough terrain. There's the slow. And I more or less create here a strong block force. At the same time, I use this strike force of over 7,000 attack value to rush now to take normally as soon as possible this base and also this base. And then yeah, it's a race against time. Take the 3 bases or 4 bases before Dojo can come with his army near to Xi'an. This is normally the main operation here in North China. I mean, this Mongolian stuff is already... There is no way more that Dojo can stop me if he don't have additional forces, and there are normally no additional forces. He can also bring no additional forces here because this is the distance is too far. I mean, he can maybe fly some forces, but I don't think that the Chinese or allied forces have much transport capacity for this. And even if he want to fly units here to support the defense, he cannot transport any heavy equipment, and I think it's nearly impossible that there's any chance for Dojo to stop my small but still strong enough Mongolian forces. 400 attack value is still too much normally. So it is normally here now this 3 bases plus this additional. This is my objective to take. At the same time, my secondary objective is this, to keep an eye on Dojo's main army and let them not escape. Oh, let's say this. The main purpose must be, or the number one part is hold Xi'an at all costs, don't lose it, or it will break my supply line for my strike force. And the secondary task is normally to block Dojo as long as possible, let him not escape, let him suffer here. And if I get a bonus task, then it's be after I take all this and I can bring my force back, that I can maybe destroy or at least weaken Dojo's number 1 army here in the north area of China. Because if we can cripple these forces, you need 2 or 3 months to regroup everything, and that is maybe then enough to maybe at least try to I mean, I would really maybe try to take this mountain pass, even if it takes 1 month to walk here. This is a very slow piece of road, and every hex Dojo can keep maybe some units and always force me to battle. This is will not be an easy way, but it's not a must to go here. For the Japanese player, if you take these 3-4 bases and keep here a strong position, it is also for the Chinese nearly impossible to ever strike here back. At least not in the short term. Maybe after 1 year, the Chinese can create enough attack value to strike back. Yeah, and here we can see this is I try to catch up with Dojo's forces. Dojo run away. I have everywhere some. Here's the support division, try to catch up. Here's a block force. I bring here army units and block this position so that it is not easy for Dojo to cross, and if he crosses he must attack me and blah blah blah. And normally the Chinese forces are so for defense but very weak in attack. And I'm moving here still stuff around to create in Canton my new Japanese southern strike army. Here in Burma we have still the crossing is over. We go over the mountain, so next turn we arrive. I hope already we arrive this turn, but okay, we are a little slow. Next turn we can arrive, and next turn we can attack the city and maybe take the city. You can also see that here is only 2 units. This is only some tank platoon, I don't know, only 40 vehicles, so, and a little infantry, so this is not really much fighting power. Here, 5 units, only 6,000, so we can see, because I scout here, I mean, I use all my recon stuff, because I have here, of course, oops. Here my airbase, I have of course here recon units, because it's important to always make always get updated information about how strong is the enemy and where is his army and where is he moving. And maybe I must adjust something, but so far it looks for me that at no hex Dojo have really enough force to stop my army, because this is a whole 25th army, and we have here 2,500 attack value, and this is everything what I see here is maybe maximum together 1,000 attack value, I would say. Even if they are British, English forces and they're fighting better than the Chinese, but they are not stronger than Japanese army units. And if I come here with 36,000 first class fighting troops plus nearly 50,000 support units, and Dojo have here 28, 20, 35, let's say 40,000 units, but only half of them are real soldiers, and I still have the advantage. It's not that I'm totally outclassed Dojo, but I would also say that so far I see nothing can stop me. So if Dojo not make a very risky move and bring here now 1 or 2 additional divisions in the next 1 week latest, then Rangoon will fall sooner or later. Yeah. This is north of Sumatra. We take the base, and I think I will move my Navy Guard units to help in Medan, and maybe then we will see if it's enough to take Medan, maybe. And here is now, I think, we're unloading additional troops. So these are maybe then everything. Yeah. So everything is already in Osthaven or is in task force number 1. And task force number 1 is this one. Task force number 1. So these are the last units of this army. They're unloading in Osthaven, so maybe next turn we can create the division again, because I think so far there's still you can see there are 2 pieces of the division. A and B company is already here, but the C company is still unloading. So if we are finished with unloading C company, then I can create the 33rd division again, and then it's time to start the walk or march on Palmbang. We also can see, because I think I'm not sure if I talked about this last time. Oh no, not here. Yeah. Here are 2 destroyers, and they have a high flotation damage. And this happens because they make a collision. Because I was also wondering, I cannot remember there was any fight activity. I saw some Catalina one drop some bombs, but I never get the information that the bombs hit me. But this is a collision. So these 2 destroyers unluckily hit each other, and the collision can really often create a lot of damage here. This can happen. This is unlucky. So after we unload this stuff, I must bring my destroyers back to Singapore, to the shipyard. Or if it's possible, I can maybe take also Surabaya and repair it here. But we will see. Here's the 14th Army. Still a lot of stuff is unloading or loading on task forces, and so, but we have here in this hex 866 attack value. I will next turn maybe focus to get a scout information about Surabaya and see how strong the defense, and maybe I must wait for additional reinforcements, or I go directly for Surabaya. The next 2-3 turns we will see. But I'm picking here up with my Navy Guards units the undefended positions, so that my main army can really focus for Surabaya, and after we destroy the Surabaya base force and army units, I can bring all together to Batavia. So here's not much happening. We take here the last base, but this is only a block force again. And I transport from Ambon all my, I think, 2 or 3 units. And now they're arriving in Mandong. So I think I transport them already last turn already. I unload them here because this hex is under our control. It's a possible base, but so you can here unload without normally suffer something, or at least not really big suffering. It's not a landing on enemy beach, it's a landing on own beach, so this will normally works much smoother. And now I bring all my forces here. I mean, not too much, only 3 Navy Guard units, but because we control this hex and there's also a block force here, if these forces normally will surrender if they are defeated, because they cannot walk over water, even if they're Dutch. And they are very skillful with navy stuff, but the army cannot walk on water so far. So then I get rid of this, because if you have the situation like this, that you maybe win the battle in the base and then the enemy jump out of the hex in the next hex, then you still have the problem that there are enemy units somewhere, and after some certain time, after 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe they coming back to your base. This force you to stay in the base with army units, and so far I really have not enough army units to cover all these bases. Yeah. So we are ready here, 345 attack value. I think I will try next turn to attack you. And we kick out here this unit, so maybe I can use my air force to destroy these units at least. Then I still have here some Australian, and here also in Kasmata. I think this base was under my control, but then this, I think, the original base forces from Rabul. Dojo lets them retreat to this base and take this base, but now they are trapped still here. So sooner or later I have to send here a new invasion task force to take the base again, but not now, not so important. So I use these block forces. Also block force. And this is a real fighting force. So normally, if I still this task force or this army units are still not strong enough, I normally must now pick up this block force, bring this block force here, because I mean, of course, I can risk to say I take all out, but Dojo can maybe walk here back. So I would normally take the block force, bring the block force to Buna, take the real Navy Guard units with much more attack value, load it, and then bring it here to support. But maybe it's already enough. We will see. Hopefully next turn we have an outcome here. Yeah. Not much more to say first. I think I call back my carriers. Yeah. Because I want to prepare the next carrier strike against Suva. So, because this is now, these carriers air strikes against the base of Port Moresby have really no big impact. At least not on the attack value, maybe more on the morale and fatigue level. But I maintenance this carrier now, bring them all back on maximum air wing strike. You can say loading the X-planes. And then next turn I think we will departure, and I think I will maybe attack here east of Fiji again. I'm not so sure. Maybe there's also opportunity that maybe I try to actively destroy the air defense forces of Suva with my fighters first, and after I get rid of the enemy Suva cap fighters, I can use my dive and torpedo bombers to make a port strike on Suva. We will see. There's still 2-3 turns away. Good. Submarines. You can see everywhere submarines. So Dojo tried to attack me, but here we get no hit on our submarine, and here also no real hit, but a little system damage, a little engine damage. So sooner or later I have to call back. We still have some torpedoes left, but good. And this was be the scout information. So I try to intercept here because this is normally important, not important, but it's a harbor you have to use because the allies player create here a lot of resources, and the only way to get them out is to load them here in the port and then bring them normally to Perth, because bring them to Darwin will normally not help much. So I try to bring here my force in and maybe intercept the units, but I have maximum reaction time, but we miss the enemy task force. So if we're lucky, we can maybe attack them next turn. We'll see. Good. I think this is enough for today. See you all. Take care. Bye bye.